What is happening, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Ty behind the camera, and this is the 2023 Chevy Traverse. Now this one happens to be in the LT leather trim with all-wheel drive. Also has some pretty notable options such as the LT premium package and the dual skyscape sunroof. We are working with the beautiful iridescent pearl paint color, absolutely gorgeous in the sun. And we also have the jet black and chai leather interior. Now, throughout this video, we're going to take a look at all the details this vehicle has to offer with some commentary from the Crows. First of all, we're going to check out the exterior, see what all the features have to offer. Then we'll take a look under the hood and see what powers all Traverses for 2023. We'll then get into the cargo area and check out all 3 rows of seating. But you're not gonna want to go anywhere until the end of the video, because I'm going to strap this GoPro to my head and we're going to take this Traverse for a POV test drive. Let's start things off up front where we have kind of an upper and lower segmentation of lighting. Now the upper has to do with the daytime running lights as well as turn signals. All LED up here, looks very nice, all illuminated. And if we take a look down below, this is actually the bulb for your headlights. So high and low beams are routed throughout this bulb. Of course, LED, nicely accented in chrome, and also looks very nice, all illuminated. Taking a look up here, we have a very nice, bold, chrome accented grille with the Chevy emblem front and center. Taking a look up at the hood, we have a nice line of symmetry going straight down into the grille, and it is a nice short hood. 20-inch wheels with this LT leather Traverse, machined face to them, and a kind of darkly painted pockets, and 6 lug nuts, 2 for the Traverse. Pay close attention to all of the black cladding that surrounds the wheels and goes towards the bottom of the doors. Definitely protects that expensive $1,000 optional paint color we have on this vehicle. Take a look on the side. Our mirrors do have turn signal indicators and blind spot warning. You can see chrome surrounds the windows too. We have roof rails and the shark fin antennas up there, as well as our 2 individual sunroofs for the front and rear. Traverse badging on the driver's door, and if we flip around, you can actually see that little indicator for the blind spot warning. All 4 doors also have the smart key entry, so you just tap this little chrome button to lock and unlock, or lock and unlock. And up here you can see we have a total sticker price of $50,630. Fuel door is on the driver's side, and taking a look back here, we have the same LED treatment as out front, so the tail lights, turn signals, and the brake lights are all LED illuminated. It looks pretty nice when they're all lit up. Really nice design for that. We have the rear wiper back here and some badging as well. The Traverse all-wheel drive, and then the LT badge over there. Nice dual exhaust too on this vehicle, and real dual exhaust. Under this little cutout here, we have the electronic release for the power tailgate. And take a look at that. We have 2 cameras underneath the Chevy emblem. One is for the regular reversing camera, and the other for the camera mirror. So we'll definitely take a look at that once we get inside. This car does also have a 360-degree view camera system, which is pretty nice. So I think the Traverse has aged very nicely over the years that it's been out. What do you guys think about the styling? Let me know in the comments. 3.6 liter naturally aspirated V6 is what all Traverses will be powered by in 2023. Produces 310 horsepower and 266 pound-feet of torque, which are some pretty healthy numbers for a naturally aspirated V6. And every trim level you have the choice of front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. And no matter what, you'll be connected to a 9-speed automatic. So, in the LT leather trim, the powered liftgate is standard. Once we pop it open, this is a pretty good size SUV, so we have a pretty good amount of space. Now, I did make sure to leave up one side of the third row seating and put it down the other side, so you kind of have a good idea of what kind of cargo space you have in both different configurations. Now, we do have some hooks on the rear side of the trunk to fasten things down, and you can also see this little tether here. Two functions: you can kind of pull it just a little bit and that will fold down the rear headrest so you get a better view out of the rear view mirror, or you can pull it fully and kind of fold the third row seats back. We do have a 12-volt power outlet back here as well, which is pretty nice, and the cargo floor lifts up to reveal quite a bit more storage. It is pretty deep in there. Once you're done back here, we do have a handle that you could use, or you can also just press the button. So the rear door for the Traverse is pretty large. That means you have a good amount of space to get in for the second and third row passengers. Back here you could see the beautiful chai colored sort of tan interior for this vehicle, with of course the jet black accents. Nice soft to the touch materials up here on the top of the door. We have chrome door handles and just a ton of storage. We have kind of 3 tiers of storage: one upper, one in the middle, and one large lower. And you also have a cup holder for the second row as well. The second row of seats does have captain's chairs. As you can see, we also get armrests that we can fold up and down. Now on the other side, there is a handle on the backrest, which you can pull, and the seat will kind of tilt upwards and forwards, which will gain entry to the third row seating. Another way to gain entry is just to walk kind of around. A lot easier said than done, more for children that way. But to fold down this seat on the driver's side, you just pull the handle right at the bottom and it'll kind of do that trick maneuver, fold it down flat, and this is kind of the maximum cargo mode. Now, the third row seats are pretty roomy. You can slide the second row seats back and forth. This one is slid all the way back, and take a look at that. You still have a little bit of legroom, so your smaller children will have no problem fitting back there. The third row seats have that same nice chai colored leather as up front. We have cup holders, a little bit of storage, and USB chargers to either side. Pretty easy to fold the seats back up. They aren't heavy or anything, and you just kind of grab them and lift them back up. So just keep in mind that the second row seats are scooted all the way back. And for a person about 5'10", I adjusted this seat in front of me, and take a look at that. Tons of legroom. You have mat pockets on either of the backs of the front seats. And you also get a pretty cool climate control back here. So you get your own fan speed, temperature. It's also an automatic climate control, and you can adjust where the air comes out. Pretty neat. Just below that, you have a household outlet and two USB chargers and a little bit of storage. Notice how the drivetrain hump is non-existent, so you have a flat floor all the way across. Pretty nice place to be back here too, and you do get the addition of that beautiful extended sunroof back here. So it's actually a separate piece of glass. This is actually powered, so if you ask the people sitting up front, they will open it up for you, and you have a very nice view out the top in the back here. We also do have climate vents for the second and third row on the ceiling, and some LED tap illumination, in addition to some grab handles up here. Okay, so the front cabin. Let's take a look at the door. Same very nice color theme. The chrome door handles, you actually get this pretty neat gray painted trim. You have the lock unlock up here, as well as all of your mirror adjustments. We also have power folding mirrors, which is awesome. You have the button right there. You also have the window lockout for your children and all the rest of your window controls. 2 tiers of storage on the front doors. We have an upper sort of small one, maybe you could business cards and things like that, and a larger towards the bottom with a little adjustment for the power trunk. So you can kind of move the dial along like so to turn off the power trunk, make it pop a 3/4 way if you have a low garage ceiling, or just open a maximum way. As you can see, we have a little Bose logo. We do have a 10-speaker Bose audio system as part of the LT Premium package. On the left of the dash, we have a pretty cool design going on here with the chai colored leather and the air vent. Down here we have a gauge dimmer and the lighting controls. And even down below we have the hood release and the pedals. We have a full power driver's seat with the up, down, back and forth for the bottom, and the back and forth for the backrest, and also 2-way lumbar. Very, very comfortable seat up here for the driver. And nice attention to detail too, with some subtle stitching. So, pretty traditional Chevy key fob. We have the lock, unlock, remote start, as well as the ability to pop the trunk. And we also have the panic alarm. A little button right there to slide out the physical key in case you need it, and the nice Chevy logo at the back. Of course, we do have push button start right behind the steering wheel. Just put your foot on the brake and it'll fire right up. Okay, so first things first, let's check out this leather wrapped steering wheel. Very nice smooth leather, and on the left side we have all of our adaptive cruise control settings, as well as our heated steering wheel control and adjustment to turn on and off the forward collision warning. Over here we have all of the adjustments for the LCD screen in between the gauges. We also have voice commands and Bluetooth telephone controls. And there are actually some hidden controls. They almost feel like paddle shifters, but the upper button on this side, where my fingers are, upper and lower, have to do with the audio volume. And on the other side, have to do with changing the radio station. So that's pretty cool. Hidden audio controls on the back of the steering wheel. Also on the back of the steering wheel is a couple of stalks. One, of course, for your turn signals and automatic high beams. You can just press the button to activate or deactivate your auto high beams right there. And then, of course, the other one for your front and rear wipers. Pretty traditional setup here when it comes to the gauges. For this particular vehicle, we have the larger tachometer and speedometer, and then up top your fuel gauge and coolant temperature. But quite a few things we could go through in the digital display. So we're going to use these buttons here to configure that display. So just make sure you watch my thumb movements here so you can see how we get to certain screens. This is kind of the home screen. It shows you a digital speedometer, distance till empty for the fuel, and then all the cruise control and things like that. You could switch over to a sort of informational screen, and you can scroll down, see your different trip computers, fuel range and instant fuel economy, all that good stuff, service things, average fuel economy and real-time fuel economy, a timer, battery voltage, and then kind of a blank page if you don't want a whole lot going on. You can also scroll over to the audio, navigation, phone, and a settings menu too, which is pretty neat. So you can see all that stuff within the digital portion of the dash. Taking a look up at the other dash, it is nice soft to the touch material. And we'll take a look at the touchscreen we get in this vehicle. I believe it's about an 8-inch touchscreen. Very nice and simple, easy to get used to screen. We kind of have a pretty cool home menu with the audio up top, what your phone is doing, and your navigation map. We also have shortcuts at the bottom too, with a physical home button and skipping for your radio and a volume knob. Quickly go through some of the menus. So we have the audio screen over here, presets up top, band on the left, and then you could skip between different stations in the middle, and kind of what's playing and all the info right there. You can also adjust the sound settings. We have the phone and navigation screen, so very nice map, and you can also input your destination up top or through the voice commands. We have the Wi-Fi app. You can also set up different users if you say you or your wife are driving the vehicle as well. We have a bunch of different settings too that I can quickly go through. You can just pause the screen if you see a certain setting. Those are our system settings. Now we have the app settings, and finally our vehicle settings. We have the Apple CarPlay, Android Auto on this vehicle. You can also download different apps. We have the OnStar app as well. You can get all of your climate through the screen if you'd like, but all of the climate controls are repeated in a physical fashion down below, so you don't have to use the screen to control the climate. Otherwise, we have temperatures to either side, the zone, the fan speed, and all of our AC and other settings there. We can also access our rear climate control, pretty much the same thing, temperature to that side, fan speed over there, and zones. We can also pull up our cameras within this vehicle. So we do have a 360-degree camera system, very nice camera system on this car. We have the 360 view on the left side, and the front kind of wide angle camera on the right. And we can kind of toggle back and forth between the front and rear cameras. We can also zoom in if you'd like, if you're kind of lining up a trailer. You can actually tow 5,000 pounds with a Traverse if it's properly equipped, which is pretty awesome. You can also get the front and rear wheels view, so you don't curb your wheels. A hitch view, which is pretty awesome. And then kind of just your top-down view if you'd like to see that or not. So that is pretty cool. Then you can also toggle the different guidance lines when you're on the rear for the parking or for the trailer hookup. So pretty nice camera system in this vehicle, I have to say. Taking a look down here, we have the hazards button and kind of your repeat physical climate controls. We also have 3-stage heated seats up front. We have the 2 individual temperatures, the defrosters, where you want the air to come out, the fan speed, and your AC settings right over here. We get this shifter out of the way so we could check out our little storage area over here. This also is a wireless charger for your phone. We have an SD card inlet, 2 USBs, an auxiliary, and a 12-volt power outlet, so they definitely got you covered with the chargers on this vehicle. And this is our gear selector. Again, 9-speed automatic on the Traverse. We have park, of course, reverse, where your cameras will pop up, neutral, drive, and then if you pull it back once more, it'll go into a low mode. And they also give you the option to cycle through all 9 gears manually if you'd like. 2 pretty nicely sized cup holders over here. We have the electronic parking brake, and we also have some pretty neat controls. First, to turn on and off your auto start stop and your lane keeping assist. And then we kind of have this rotary dial to put the car in kind of like a front wheel drive mode only, and then we could turn it once over to kind of lock it into all-wheel drive. And from there you could go into an off-road mode and also a trailer towing mode, which is pretty cool. So you definitely have a couple of modes there that you can go through on the Traverse. Pretty neat pattern on the armrest, and once you lift it up, we have a little tray right here which you can remove, and there is quite a bit of space in there. It's all illuminated. The passenger area is pretty nicely designed with a little bit of stitching and some more of that chai colored, and also some metallic accents leading into the air vent. Lots and lots of space in the glove box that kind of drops down. We have a full black headliner, and our visors have mirrors and lights in them, of course. Taking a look up at the center stack, we have 3 buttons here for your 3 different programmable garage door openers. We also have LED lights up front and all of your sunroof controls. So this central button here will actually open and close at the rear sunshade. So if you want to give the kids some sunshine in the back, or whoever's back there, you definitely can. They'll just have to ask you to do so. As for the sunroof up front, All you have to do is push in the little release and it will kind of move back. Nice size glass too, and you can also slide the sunroof back and forth and also tilt it if you'd like. We have some more lighting controls up front, as well as our OnStar and SOS controls as well. And if you remember before, I was talking about the rear view camera mirror. Well, right now it just looks like a pretty traditional rear view mirror, right? But if you press this little knob right here, it turns into the camera. So we're going to leave that on for the test drive so you guys can kind of get accustomed to it. And we also have some adjustments here for that camera mirror as well, so you can kind of tailor it to what you like. That pretty much does it for all the features of the Traverse. Let's get it out on the road and see how it drives. All right, safety first. Let's put the seatbelt on because we have buckle to shift. So the Traverse, if you have the setting activated, will actually not let you shift into gear until you're buckled. Pretty neat feature, which of course you can turn off. Now, a little overview of the test drive. So we're gonna go on this little mountain here. It is pretty bumpy, so we'll get a good suspension test right off the bat. We have a little bit of city driving, but mostly it's going to be some back roads driving. We're gonna get a good feel for the suspension. We'll also get an acceleration test. And we'll just see how this thing feels out on the open road. Now, immediately I could tell you, that is a pretty bumpy road usually, but the Traverse definitely has a pretty comfortable suspension. So definitely solid and comfortable with the Traverse. So we of course have that 3.6 liter V6 that General Motors has had for many years and through many different generations. This is of course the newest generation of that. 310 horsepower is plenty of power for this to go around. Now, funny thing, I was actually driving a GMC Acadia yesterday, and that had a 2.5 liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder, which actually to me seemed like it had plenty of power. So this 3.6 having about 100 horsepower more kind of puts it into perspective that this has plenty of power. Now, the start-stop system is activated, meaning the car is completely off, and we'll see how fast it starts back up again once that light turns green. So yeah, the start-stop reacts pretty well, and it does start up pretty quick. That starter is lightning fast. Now, of course, me being a car guy, I'm going to talk about the dynamics of this vehicle. Of course, it is a front-wheel drive based all-wheel drive system, meaning most of the weight is up front. The steering is pretty light, of course. That's what you want for a kind of family hauler. Most likely you're going to be using this car as a daily driver, so you want the steering to be nice and light. And we actually got a good view on how the front assist works. As you saw, this guy in the old Audi pulled out right in front of us, didn't accelerate that fast, and the beeping with the lights on the dash alerted us, if we weren't paying attention, that you should probably hit your brakes. So that system works pretty good. There's some things throughout these test drives, these point of view test drives that I do, and these aren't staged. This is real life. So things like that actually happen on camera every once in a while. So with that being said, every once in a while we get to test out these safety features. Now this V6 seems to have quite a bit of low-end power too, which is pretty good. Usually V6s aren't all that torquey, and as you know, torque comes low down in the RPM range, and this actually seems like a pretty torquey motor. Now we are going to try to get a little acceleration test here with this Traverse. You know, I'm gonna give these guys some room, obviously. We'll get it up to 25 miles an hour. We'll kind of just mash the throttle and see what happens. So here we go. So yeah, pretty impressive acceleration. Strong engine, obviously, for this car, and the 9-speed automatic shifted up to the correct gear very fast. And there being 9 gears in this transmission kind of gives us close gear ratios. In turn means, you know, you're always kind of in that power band when you need to have that high pace acceleration, such as getting on the highway or cutting into traffic, something like that. You'll always kind of be at the correct RPM because the gear ratios are so close together in having a 9-speed transmission. So that definitely helps. Now there are some 9-speed transmissions out there, aka the one in my Nissan Frontier pickup truck, which are very slow to react. So if I were to hit the gas like I just did in my Nissan Frontier, it would take quite a while for it to find the right gear and get up to speed. That is not the case in this Traverse. The 9-speed automatic in this car is pretty quick and sharp. Yeah, so going around some of the corners, you of course get a little bit of body roll. You know, at the end of the day, this is a pretty large 3-row crossover, which your whole family is going to be into, so it's going to be definitely more of a comfort tuned suspension. But for the next portion, we have a nice straight road, kind of a higher speed limit on this road, so we'll hopefully get it up to 45, 50 miles an hour, so we could hear what the sound levels are like, both with the tires and the wind noise. So yeah, now that we're approaching 50 miles an hour, I can't say I'm pleasantly surprised with the noise insulation on this car. Meaning the tires aren't producing a whole lot of noise. That is probably really the only noise I'm hearing right now. The wind noise is almost none. So very nice job with sound insulation on the Traverse here. So as you can see in the digital portion of the instrument cluster, we do have the lane keeping assist active, and once that little symbol turns green, that means it's picking up the lines. So just a little bit before it was green, and we kind of steered outside the lines a little bit, just like so. And take a look at that. The little message in there turns yellow orange, and it'll kind of gently steer us back into the lane, so we don't have any mishaps. Alright, so heading back up the hill here. What are my final thoughts on the Traverse? So I do really like this car. We did do a video back on when this generation first came out. I believe it was 2018, and I really liked that back then. But now that I got to drive it and see how comfortable it is, yeah, I really do like this Traverse. I think it's at a pretty good price point too. It's just about $50,500 this vehicle is, give or take a few $100. Yeah, I think you get a lot for that money nowadays, especially with this Traverse. So alright, so to wrap up this video, I would like to thank each and every one of you for watching, and I hope you have enjoyed this Traverse just as much as I have. And I also hope you stay with us right here on Tide Drives for more videos to come.